Thanks to the support as a channel member, Martin Cooper. Slight disclaimer at the start of this one, boys and girls. It is a transfer window as normal, but I'm recording this having just spent the best part of the last 2.5 days completely disassembling my office and reassembling it with my new desk. It's a very nice desk. What that means is there might be a few little teething problems and glitches in this video when it comes to lighting, camera angles, audio. I'll notice them all in the edit, but in order to get this video out today, I've kind of just have to assume it's right. I think it's right. Go with the video and they'll get fixed over the next few days. Fingers crossed, there's no problems at all. What I'm noticing straight away is I'm having to crane my neck up further than usual to look into the camera. So that's a fix that needs to come soon. Hello and welcome to Club 4, part 34 of Non-Need to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special off the back of the greatest season in the history of Norwich City Football Club. We only went and won the Premier League. Can we go one better and win the Champions League here at Norwich? Or is it time to move on? We certainly don't have much in the way of spensies this summer because we've basically already spent it making the Paviot loan deal from last summer permanent. So I'm not expecting a long one. I'm not expecting a big one. Let's see what happens, shall we? And we will get started by getting straight into our season review. As normal, it's lovely seeing the little Premier League trophy lying there. So quick look at last season's signings. We're calling this section the vindication of past Kev, because I got a little bit of heat from you lot last summer for my decision to spend like £150 million on 3 defenders that you possibly didn't rate very highly. Haruna got signing of the season. 14 assists from 39 appearances for a left-back who some of you don't think he's good enough to play left-back. Average of 7.34. Still considers himself a centre-back. We know he's a flying wing-back and an assist machine. But Mura and Fernandez also weighing in with massive average ratings as well. 7.33, 7.20. And Paviot, who again has got a little bit of heat for not being Romero, weighing in with a 7.19. That's why we made his deal permanently. No coincidence that signing an entirely new back four is the thing that pushed us over the finish line and allowed us to become Premier League champions. The other significant signing last summer was Colin Schultz, who has given us a 7.03, 11 goal contributions. I kind of expected more from him. He started really, really well and then didn't end quite so well, but he is still young, still only 21 years old. Love the fact that he's described as a midfield orchestrator, because that's exactly what we want looking for him to do. We want him to be orchestrating the midfield, and hopefully as he gets older, he'll settle into that role more and more. I think as much as they were the key to making us a team capable of winning the Premier League and realistically capable of competing probably a little bit more in the Champions League, this is the kind of player you need to go on and win the Champions League. So we need Colin Schultz to continue to develop and go from strength to strength over the course of the next season. Assuming we spend the next season at Norwich, there's no guarantee we're going to stay here. Who knows what might happen? Gaza, a little bit of a disappointment, but didn't really get much of an opportunity. I mean, you could say 5 starts, 5 goal contributions. Obviously doesn't tell the whole story, but he's another one who's still quite young, still has time. And then the others, less so. Frankie came in on loan, didn't really do anything. He'll be going back to Bayern Munich. And the biggest disappointment, Domingo Navarro, coming in for a bargain, £12.5 million, but only getting a 6.88 average. And we saw in some of those big matches last year that he does have a little bit of a tendency to have a bit of an off game when it really, really counts. So that might be an area we might want to have a look at again. We've obviously got him and Zamorano competing for that spot, plus a couple of youngsters in that position as well. So I don't know. I think if we're going to sign anyone else this summer on top of Paviot, I think it has to be a striker. Tammy Abraham turns 36 this coming season. Casolare, as much as he's great as a super sub, and he could be our Ole Gunnar Solskjaer super sub for the next 7 or 8 years probably, I don't know that you're going to play him from the start week in, week out. And like I say, Gaza, disappointed. So if we can find a striker to partner Pedro Luis consistently, what we want is Julian Alvarez, 5 years younger. That would be absolutely perfect if we could find somebody like that. I don't know if we're going to be able to find somebody like that. So the season review, obviously we're on an A+. The board were looking for us to qualify for the Europa League. We went 2 better than that. We not only qualified for the Champions League, but of course we won the Premier League, pretty much maxing out our home attendances again. This is like the 3rd season in a row we've done this. The board don't seem to have any interest in either expanding or replacing Carrow Road. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. And Pedro Luis, top scorer, not just for us, I think top scorer in the competition. And I didn't realise until I opened the safe back up this morning, it hadn't occurred to me at the time, but we won the Premier League by 6 points. That doesn't really tell the story of the season. It looks like we kind of ran away with it, and then there were the 3 or 4 also rans. I mean, we went into the final day of the season still not knowing that it was secure. But obviously Chelsea losing both of their last 2 games against Manchester City and Arsenal has made it look a lot more comfortable for us than it was. The history books will show that we were 6 points better than everybody else, which is not a bad thing to have history books showing. How important was that 9-0 win over Southampton? That goal difference at times was super crucial. We didn't need it in the end. It was a nice little confidence boost when it was used. And Casolare, I mean, that's him. He's just heard me say he's not going to be a starter for us. 4 goals from the start there in the Premier League. I know. You just don't do it often enough, you silly goose. Club reputation-wise, we've moved from 4-star to 4.5-star, which is crucial for keeping the likes of Pedro Luis at the club. I still think we'll struggle to keep hold of him if the likes of a Bayern Munich or a Paris Saint-Germain or a Barcelona come in for him. But I think having a 4.5-star reputation should protect us from the majority of the rest of the clubs. If an Arsenal or an Inter Milan come in for him, I think we're probably in a situation to say no. And he'll be like, yeah, fair enough. I'll stay with you. So that's massive. Financially, I know we've been a little bit iffy with the finances. We'll look at them in more detail in a minute, but sponsorships have gone up, which is important. They'll go up with reputation increasing. Sponsorships will increase as well. The more we're in the Champions League, the more sponsorships are going to increase. So that's crucial. Broadcast revenue going down, I think, is just indicative of us going one step less far in the Champions League this year is what we did the year before. Corporate and hospitality is up. Competition prize money down again because we got knocked out a round earlier in the Champions League. But our match day and commercial revenue, or match day commercial and retail, is up slightly. So I guess that means we sold a few more shirts and bean bags. Why is bean bags the second thing I've gone to? Mugs, ties, badges, foam fingers, bean bags, all the things you buy at football matches. And top shirt sellers, as you would expect, Pedro Luis topping this. Schultz second is really interesting. Obviously, the fans are seeing the potential that he's got. Then Tipple, Janusek and Tammy Abraham rounding out the shirt sales. Team of the year was Hoyenhall in goal. A back four of Haruna, Caesar, Mura and Fernandez. Navarro at the base of the midfield. Janusek and Zamorano ahead of him. Then Schultz with Pedro Luis and Casolare up front. Interesting that team of the year puts Casolare ahead of Tammy Abraham, which is very interesting. I'm not sure what tactical style clean slate means. What does that mean? Oh, here we go. The tactics board is a clean slate, ready for a playing style to be created from the ground up. We just won the Premier League. I don't think we need to create a new playing style. Thank you very much, game. Goodness me. Accolades-wise, I won the Premier League Manager of the Year. Well, no, I don't think it's the 5th time I won the Premier League Manager of the Year, but it is Kevy 5 times when it comes to winning Manager of the Year, which actually made the Steam achievement for Legend pop up, which I think officially means we don't end the save there, but I am a legend in the eyes of Football Manager. Not a legend in the eyes of this save yet. Fans Player of the Year, as you would expect, Pedro Luis, who is now considered an elite striker, which is a wonderful thing for us to have here at Norwich. Young Player of the Year was Mura, who, again, the amount of stick that boy got. He's won Young Player of the Year. Haruna, signing of the season. Schultz got goal of the season. What a lovely spread of awards amongst players who can be here for the next 7 or 8 years. We're not just building a Premier League winning team here at Norwich. We're building a team that can be here for the long haul. Pedro Luis, top scorer with 35 goals. 14 assists. Luis, best man of the match and top average rating. And Navarro, best pass completion with 64 completed passes per 90 minutes. We've got some competition awards as well. Pedro Luis won the Premio Brasil Olímpico Futebol. Does that mean Brazilian Player of the Year? I'm not really good at my Portuguese. I think that means he's won Brazilian Player of the Year, which shows just how good he is. He also won the Premier League Golden Boot, and Haruna winning the PFA Young Player of the Year. We've also got some club record breakers. 35 goals in the season is a new Norwich record for Pedro Luis. Casolare setting goals in a match record with 4. Hoyenhal, 24 clean sheets this season as a club record. And Tammy Abraham, at 35 years old, is now the oldest goal scorer in the history of Norwich, the modern history of Norwich, because obviously it starts from the start of the same. I'm sure they've had goal scorers older than 35 before. Look at how good Pedro Luis is. I mean, just sometimes you just have to look at him and realise just how good he is. And he's wanted by Liverpool, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich and Juventus. It's going to be a tough old summer with all those kind of clubs in for him, I fear. And there's your summary of the season. We are the Premier League champions. And realistically, our only goal for the summer is to keep hold of Pedro Luis. If we do that, we'll be fine. If he goes, less fine. The board are looking for me to finish in the top half of the Premier League next year and get to the first knockout round of the Champions League. We just won the Premier League, Julian Inzov. We just won the Premier League. We could maybe aim a little higher. That's lower than we were aiming last year. And they want me to play possession football, make the most of set pieces, high tempo pressing football, entertaining football. Yeah, we do all this. Work within the wage budget, minimum. Yeah, we do all that. We'll just accept that vision. I mean, we could do with a little bit more ambition, but I can cope with it. Team leaders. I love the fact that we've now been here long enough that the team leaders are all players I brought in. Hoyenhal, Pedro Luis, Etienne Tippel, the 3 team leaders. And they're all young enough, again, to be here for years to come. Hoyenhal, I think, is 25. Luis is 25. Tippel, maybe 26, 27. This is set up for a long-term awesomeness for Norwich if we can keep this team together. And I just really hope that 4.5-star reputation allows us to keep this team together. I'm going to tell the boys that we're going to end up in the Europa League. There you go. They're happy with that as a target. I think that I can't say to them that we're going to finish top half. At the same time, if I tell them we're going to win the Premier League again, because FM is stupid, they'll be like, oh no, we can't possibly do that. We're not good enough. Ridiculous. And right, we want to get to the knockout stages of the Champions League. They're happy with that as well. Enjoy your breaks. Toodle pip, boys. When you come back, hopefully, you'll all still be here. That's the crucial thing. That's what the game considers my best 11 to be, which to me does scream need a new striker, because Casolari as part of that is troublesome. I'm less worried about 3-star Caesar and Noel back there, because we know we've got Mura and Fernandez who can play in the middle there as well. Again, Hoyenhal, 3-star. I'm not going out to replace Hoyenhal because he's Hoyenhal. He's the best goalkeeper any of us have ever seen in Football Manager. I don't care that the game thinks he's only 3-star. That's the best goalkeeper that any of us have ever experienced. He is a wonderful, wonderful thing that will never be replaced. Cue me signing a new goalkeeper this summer, probably. I'm not going to. Where are we going on holiday? We'll go to Singapore. Why not? Let's go to Singapore. Mason Mount has won Footballer of the Year at 34 years old and PFA Player of the Year. Pedro Luis says your confirmation he's won the Golden Boot. Give him a pat on the head. Haruna gets a pat on the head for being Young Player of the Year. Hoyenhal was runner-up for Golden Glove winner. No justice in the world. There's me winning Manager of the Year. Here he is posing for his photo. Lovely. Front page of Match magazine right there. Does that still exist? It should. I loved that when I was a kid. And we have players in the PFA Team of the Year as well. Hoyenhal, Ua, Fernandez, Mura. Love the fact that the 3 sidings I got stick for are all in the PFA Team of the Year. Janusek in midfield and Pedro Luis up front. Finance-wise, we don't really have a budget. We've already spent it on Paviot. We do have £78 million of transfer debt as well. A lot of this debt is going to be cleared because I think Champions League money is still due to come in, or I'm sure there's money on the way in this summer. We'll look at that again before the 1st of July and we'll have 100 million in the bank. I think that's how it works. Yeah, I mean, you see where it did the same thing last year. It didn't happen until July. So there is money coming in. Obviously, that money's not going to clear the transfer debt, although this summer's debt payments will be coming out before we get to the 1st of July. So that will be lower. I'm not sure how much in the way of debt payments we've got to come out this summer, but the financial situation is nowhere near as bad as some people will have you believe in the comments section. We are comfortable when it comes to FFP. For the Premier League, we can't make a loss of more than 15 million. We've made a profit of 200 million over the last 3 seasons, which, I mean, a profit of 200 million, yeah, that'll do. That's all right. Financial problems? What financial problems? Right, let's... I'm just going to hit continue a few times. I don't really know what the plan is here, because like I say, we've already spent the money. If nobody goes, we're probably not going to bring anybody in unless there's another Tammy Abraham-style free transfer that emerges. We haven't got the money to go and buy another striker. We don't really have enough money for anything, but there are some of our players who are wanted. PSG wants Caesar. Brighton want Romero. Loads of clubs, including Real Madrid, want Zamorano. Watford want Tipple. It's interesting to see what clubs are in for what players. Sheffield United want Asa Walsh. Watford want Janusek. West Ham want Carlos. Liverpool, Dortmund, Bayern and Juventus want Pedro Luis. Southampton want Gaza. I don't know that any of them are must-sells. There's no one I particularly want to sell there. The worry is that we get the big offer for Caesar or Luis. They force it through. I'm less worried if it's Caesar, to be honest. If PSG want to come in and give me 80 or 90 million for Caio Caesar, it just gives Nola route back into the team as a regular starter. I'm fine with that. We can go and buy a striker and another defender if we sell him. If we lose Pedro Luis, it is more troublesome. And, I mean, I don't even know what kind of transfer price we can put on him. One thing I have been doing with the new way it's set up on FM22 is you can go on here, put a value on, and then get a rough idea of whether or not the player would be happy with you forcing that value. So if we take this to 150, so he's still not happy with 150 million. So on the high side, but not by much. So Pedro Luis himself would be happy with an asking price of 141 million. So as far as I'm concerned, that's where we set his asking price if offers start to come in. So if we're going to cancel that, we're not going to set that in stone just yet. But if we were to get 141 million for him, we only have 40% retained transfer revenue, but that's still the best part of 50 million would come in. Utilising installments, we'd be able to bring in a striker, probably 2 strikers to replace him and Tammy Abraham. Buy me the wind. It's windy, isn't it? So, is there a storm going on at the moment in the UK or something? I have to shut my window. While I do that, I'll hit continue a few times. Hopefully, the next time you see me, it'll be the first day of the new season and no transfers will have happened. Well, we've made it through to the 1st of July with no disasters happening just yet. Nobody's come in for Pedro Luis. There's nobody even interested in Pedro Luis at the moment, which is fantastic news. The pile of money did come in, but has then gone out again. I'm not entirely sure. There was a big chunk of money arriving. What chunk of money has disappeared and why? Oh, so the transfer installments. We spent £77 million on transfers last month. We did make Paviot permanent, but that should mean the maths. I don't understand. The transfer debt's only lowered by 7 million, but we spent 76 million on transfers in a month where we only signed 1 player for 24.5 million. There's Football Manager accounting doesn't always make sense. I don't think you're supposed to look at those finance pages in too much detail. Either way, we're not doing too bad. Total debt, it's still 96. I don't understand. It was a week ago, it was like 8 million total debt, and now it's 96 million again. Just take every Football Manager finance thing with a pinch of salt. But no other transfers have gone on. We do potentially have a solution long-term for striker, Keegan Shrivers from Arsenal. Now, I'm not entirely sure how loans with guaranteed future fees work, because next season's minimum guaranteed budget is 14.7 million. The deal we've lined up for Shrivers is he comes in on loan for the season, and then we pay 37 million pounds next year to make the deal permanent. We've agreed a contract with him for that, or we've done preliminary agreement. He's not actually gone through and signed it. But I don't know how it works. It might be that we get to that point and the game says, well, you only got 14.7 million the next summer. How can you possibly spend 37 million on him and might not let us have him? Which would be a little bit of a problem. But he's 22 years old. He's homegrown in England. He's, I think he came through the Arsenal youth system. He's had spells out on loan at Portsmouth, Salzburg and Celtic. He's reasonably quick and has bags of potential. He's still showing us 4.5 stars of potential, 3-star current ability. So he's as good as Casolare, theoretically better than Tammy Abraham, better than Gaza, with potential to be as good as Pedro Luis. There's no shaded out stars there. That's 4.5 genuine stars of potential ability. So he could be an absolute superstar. There is another striker that I like the look of. If Pedro Luis goes, this is the guy I've got identified as my Pedro Luis replacement. He's currently on the transfer list at Hoffenheim because he's out of contract next summer and won't sign a new deal. They want £75 million for him. There's absolutely no way for us to get him unless we sell Pedro Luis. But if we do sell him, this guy is rapid, 18 finishing, 19 composure, 19 acceleration, 17 pace. If we do a comparison between him and Pedro Luis, I've not actually done this. I don't know how he compares with Pedro Luis. If we do a comparison, you can see that Pedro Luis is better in the air, but technically they're the same. Delgado has better attacking attributes, vision very close, speed, Delgado slightly edges it, physicals, Luis slightly edges it. They're very, very similar players. He would be a perfectly adequate replacement for Pedro Luis if we can get him. But obviously the whole of Europe has also noticed that he's on the transfer list and all of these massive clubs and West Ham want him as well. So I don't know. I don't hold out much hope of getting him, but he's certainly there at the forefront of my mind if Pedro Luis goes. But like I say, at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. So fingers crossed we can secure the Shrivers deal and then see what happens for the rest of the summer. I said at the start, the perfect version of this summer is it's a really quick video and not a lot happens. So far, so good. I don't know that there's many clubs in for many of our... Certainly not any clubs that can force through moves. Obviously, we've still got PSG looking at Caio Caesar. Etienne Tipples asked for a massive new contract, which isn't ideal. Asa Walsh kind of wants to leave on loan or permanently, but we want to keep him around because he's homegrown. We've got that issue with a few players. Romero, Padron, Haruna all want to go out on loan. Haruna is homegrown at club. Padron and Romero both need 1 more year here to become homegrown at club. So we can't loan out either of those two because we need them to become homegrown at club. And Haruna we need for our Champions League squad because he's homegrown at club. I've said that a lot. So, yeah, not much happening, but that's a good thing. We look at who the high potential players in the squad are. Padron, Gaza, Yedro, Schultz, Pedro Luis still up there, and Romero. Those boys are the next generation. If we look at the development centre, there is nobody ready for the first team. So as much as the board might want us to develop players, there are none to develop. So, although James Wardlaw has shot up recently, he's wanted by Rochdale. He's a left back, 17 years old. He's not going to be ready yet, but maybe long term, we might actually have a homegrown left back coming through. One of our name in the game players as well through the channel memberships, which would be awesome. You know what we will do, as there's not much transfers going on this summer, shall we check in on the former clubs, see how they're getting on? So Schalke are still in the 2nd division in Germany. Look at what you could have won, you silly gooses. Peterborough are back in the Premier League. So they've definitely become the West Brom of the future. That's the promotion I did. That was the relegation. They came back up, got relegated again. It's taken them 2 years to come back, but they've won the championship. They are back in the Premier League under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Daniel Ballard's still there as captain, which is lovely stuff. And Leamington are still in League 2. They've spent as long in League 2 as I spent in the National League over on Twitch. Theodros is now favoured personnel. Is he still there? 27 years old now. He's getting close to being due a testimonial. What a man. What a man he is. Leamington are just a comfortable mid-table League Two side. What I want to know is where they're playing, because in the Twitch version of this save, we don't actually know where they're going to be playing in the Football League. They've moved to Bob Faulkner Park in Solihull. So I guess, I mean, that is interesting. They've been in the Football League for that amount of time, still haven't got their own ground, now playing in Solihull. Leamington, you need a ground. Goodness me, you need a ground. Right, let's hopefully get all the way through to the first day of the new season. Adam Ida's got a testimonial, which is interesting. Get through to, we'll play the Community Shield in today's video as well. It's tradition, you play the Community Shield in the transfer special, and fingers crossed we go another 2 months without Pedro Luis leaving. That's all we care about at this point. Well, there's the answer to that question then. I don't really know why, when it's a £37.5 million future fee, we need £59 million in next season's budget. I guess it's taking the payments over the course of the next... Basically, we can't sign him. He's not coming in. We have a couple of slight problems. It always happens when you get to this point of the save. We've outgrown Norwich. It might be time to move on. And because the players are getting a little bit too big for their boots and we can't sustain it as a club. Asa Walsh says he wants to leave on a free transfer at the end of his deal because he wants to be a star player. We obviously can't make him a star player here. So we're having to accept whatever we can get for him, which is a £6 million offer from Burnley. I mean, if that's where he's going at 24 years old, Asa, that should tell you why you can't be a star player here at Norwich. What you can be is a fringe player who gets to play in the Champions League every now and again for the next 5 years because you're homegrown, or you can go and play for Burnley in the Championship. We probably pay you more as well. We've got a similar issue with Haruna, who wants to go and sign for Mönchengladbach because they'll make him a star player. He's the only thing that will convince him to stay is if we make him a star player. 2-star current ability, 3-star potential. Cannot make him a star player. We've agreed if anyone offers 22 million for him, we let him go. That's a problem because he's homegrown at club. We could be losing 2 homegrown midfield players, which is not ideal. But I guess if we sell them both, it does bring in some money that could allow us to go and find a striker. But what we've learned today is we can't do anything with... have they offered 22 million now? No, they haven't. I thought I declined all of these. Decline. None of these are 22 million pounds. Decline. We're not going to be able to bring anybody in. We have no money. Unless we sell, we can bring nobody in. And our squad, although it looks big and bloated, a lot of that is trialists who are in. If we actually look through position by position, there's no obvious player that we can sell to go and bring in the money that we need. I mean, I guess there's an argument we could let LOLLUJO go, but he's happy being our backup goalkeeper. You saw how well he played against Bayern Munich in the Champions League this year. He's happy to be our backup goalkeeper. We're never going to do better than that. At left back, yeah, we've got a lot of players who can play left back. We did that deliberately. But as out and out starting left backs, really it's Haruna. Everyone else plays somewhere else. So Caesar is a centre back. Fernandez plays right back or centre back. Mura is a centre back. Tipple's a midfielder. So we can't sell a left back. If we look at the right backs, we've got Romero and Paviot as out and out right backs. Yes, Fernandez can play there as well. So you could argue we perhaps didn't need to bring Paviot in. But he was great for us last season, so why wouldn't we have brought him in? He was an integral part of a Premier League winning team. Romero is one for the future. Fernandez can play centre-back as well. Same with Salinas. And then if we look at centre-back, out-and-out centre-backs, we've got Caesar, Fernandez, Mura, Salinas, Knoll. So, again, I guess you could argue you could let Salinas go. But he's homegrown at club, I think. He's homegrown in England. Not homegrown at club because he had loans, but homegrown in England. Don't want to let him go. Diego Knoll, key player, even though he only played 16 times last year. When he plays, he's great. I don't know, do we let Knoll go? He's a team leader. Seems a bit harsh to let him go. There's no one else obvious you let go. Holding midfield, Padron, 5-star potential and going to be homegrown at club. Navarro was our regular starter there last year. Zamorano has been playing central midfield, and Haruna might be leaving anyway. So there's no one we can move on there. Well, there's no fat to trim on this squad. Central midfield, Yedro's an attacking midfielder. So we've got Diaz, Tipple, Janusek, Asa Walsh is leaving, Zamorano, Gilberto Carlos can play. You could argue we probably need to bring in an extra midfielder rather than letting one go if we're losing Haruna and Walsh. And then as attacking midfielders, we've got Yedro, Schultz, Gilberto Carlos. If it wasn't for the fact we're going to need him in central midfield, you could argue we move Gilberto Carlos on and go with Yedro and Schultz. But we've just seen that we need him as centre mid. So he's got to stay. And then up front, we've got Gaza, we've got Pedro Luis, Casolari, Tammy Abraham. You could let Tammy Abraham go if we get an offer for him. Brings 140 million back onto the wage, 140,000, sorry, back onto the wage budget per week, but we're not going to get any kind of fee for him. You could let Casolari go for 39 million, but then is that going to be enough to replace him? There's nothing obvious we can do. It does feel, and we worried we might reach this point, it does feel like we're getting to the dreaded taking Norwich as far as we can. And we really want that Dortmund job to become available, or equivalent. We want to head back out to fancy foreign lands while my stock is high in football, and see what we can find. So we wouldn't go to another Premier League club. But let's have a look at job security in some of the other. What have we got? France, Germany. Where's La Liga? La Liga's there. There's nobody. Why is it not showing anyone who's got iffy job security? Either way, there's no job available. That's the important thing. So we continue plugging away, not really being able to do any transfers. The media are looking at 7th place for us. We don't have anybody in the Dream 11. This is the saddest summer we've ever had. Oh, good news. We've made it through to Community Shield Day, and we still haven't sold anybody. Still no real transfers going on. We've let a few fringe players go for not very much money, a few youngsters, but this has been the weirdest summer I've had since that summer at Leamington where we were under transfer embargo all summer long. And that turned out to be really good for us. This might be exactly what the club needs. Certainly dynamics are going to be going into the new season better than they ever have done before. Asa Walsh turned down his move to Burnley and has decided he's just going to stick around and leave on a free transfer at the end of the season. I think that probably works out best for us both. Him sticking around for one more year as a homegrown player gives Padron and Romero that one more year they need to become homegrown players. So I think it probably works for us both. I'm not going to sell him for £4 or £5 million. There's no point. We need him as a homegrown player for the Champions League squad. Haruna, we never got the offer for. So again, he's still knocking around the place as well. There are still clubs interested in him, but nothing has happened just yet. Why have I got this in a weird order? We've got Atalanta sniffing around Casolari, which is an interesting one. I'm actually going to take the asking price off of him because I'm interested to see what the game thinks his transfer value is, less than the asking price was. I'm not desperate to sell him. I actually had a little look to see if it was worth bringing Alvarez back to the club. He's been away for a year. In fact, is he at Atalanta? Because this could be, he is at Atalanta. So they want Casolari. Would it be utterly insane to propose? I wasn't asking you, Siri. Would it be utterly insane to propose some kind of swap deal? Can we even do that? Can we say to Atalanta, give us Alvarez and 10 million and you can have Casolari? Would that even be good business? I'm not sure. I mean, he's a club he should be a club legend. I don't think he actually is a club legend, which is ridiculous. He's a club icon. He's 33, turns 34 in January. He's 2 years younger than Tammy Abraham. He did score 18 goals in Serie A last season. He's still got it. I mean, I don't think I can make the offer and ask them for money. But if they make an offer for Casolari, you can be sure I'm going to be trying to include Alvarez in that deal. It's not a long-term solution. Neither was Tammy Abraham. It's Community Shield Day anyway, so let's get the Community Shield played. The other thing, of course, that has been buzzing around in my mind is maybe Schultz. Maybe Schultz is the long-term partner. Maybe we move Schultz to play up alongside Pedro Luis, and then Gilberto Carlos and Yedro can battle over the attacking midfield position. That's certainly there as an option as well. But the team for today, it's Hoy and Hal in goal, a back four of Aranua, Mura, Fernandez and Paviot, Navarro at the base of the midfield, Zamorano and Tipple ahead of him, and then Schultz in behind Casolare and Pedro Luis. We're playing Leicester in the Community Shield. I would like to think we should be able to win this football match. But I always worry not making transfers. I think there was I forget even the circumstances of it, but I remember as a kid, it was probably a Manchester United team at some point. I remember it's not the famous Alan Hansen quote, but I remember they won a Premier League and then didn't really sign anybody. And Alan Hansen got stuck into them on Match of the Day at some point in the 90s. And for whatever reason, that's stuck with me. That even when you win the league, even when you're doing well, you do need to be constantly looking to bring in new players and improve the club, because otherwise, if you're not moving forward, you're like falling behind. Pedro Luis is in with one of his specials, but unfortunately, it bounces back off the crossbar. I've just noticed that Leicester have Max Aarons playing for them at right back. If we're looking, he must be homegrown at club here at Norwich. How old is he? 33. Is he homegrown at club? He must be. He is homegrown at club. I wonder. I mean, he's out of contract at the end of the season. He's certainly someone to keep an eye on for then, if we're still looking for homegrown players. I don't necessarily want to spend money on him now. If our transfers this summer are confirming a permanent signing of Paviot and then bringing Max Aarons and Julian Alvarez back to the club, both aged 33, I think the Norwich fans will think I've lost my mind. There has been constant rumours of a potential board takeover as well. And I mean, ultimately, we've got no money to spend. We could do with a board takeover. We need a bigger ground and some more money. We have run out of cash. We can't really push on to the next level, but there's no clubs that I can jump ship to at the moment either. So we are stuck in Norwich limbo. We are Premier League champions and we nearly went ahead in the Community Shield as well. So I guess we're a good side. Let's just keep plugging away and see what we can achieve. I thought that was going to slip Pedro Luis in there, but unfortunately the Leicester defender managed to get involved and stop it being an opportunity for Pedro Luis to grab his Wembley goal. I don't know that we've ever played at Wembley before in the entire series. Have we had a game at Wembley? Did we play at Wembley? We haven't gone up through any playoffs, have we? This might be the first time at Wembley in the entire series. I get confused because obviously on Earth 2 of this universe over on Twitch, my Leamington side has been to Wembley quite a lot in the National League playoffs. And the FA Trophy. Right, Paviot, showing why we spent £24 million on him this summer. This is great from him, charging down the right-hand side, plays it into Schultz, who's kept himself nice and deep, and then skimmed it along the grass, seemingly through the goalkeeper's legs to make it 1-0. I mean, it's a very tame effort from Schultz, but Paviot's contribution is fantastic. He made his Portugal debut over the summer, and this from Schultz, I'm not really sure what their goalkeeper's doing. I'm not going to question it, though, because it's allowed us to go 1-0 up at Wembley in the Community Shield. Schultz auditioning for his role as a striker by being the first player this season to score a goal for us. Casolare is going to take the corner. It's an in-swinger, and Mura was there at the far post but couldn't keep his header down. It remains 1-0 as we approach half-time. If you look at those match stats, you can see that we've absolutely dominated this football match. We should be more than one goal ahead. It's been a little bit of a quiet day for Pedro Luis so far, and also for Casolare, although they're both not doing too badly on ratings. Leicester are in here, and Hoy and Hal. I mean, he adopted a similar pose to the Leicester goalkeeper. He sort of turned sideways on to everything that was happening, but because he's Hoy and Hal, it worked for him, and he gets away with it, makes the save. It remains 1-0, as presumably we're about to hit half-time, although it might be that Leicester get to take this throw. They're not going to. It's half-time. 1-0 to Norwich. We should be doing better than we are. I think we can make 6 changes in the Community Shield. I'm looking at that. See, I'd kind of like to see Schultz play up front, but then we've got Gaza and Abraham on the bench, so it's realistically not going to happen. We're not going to make any halftime changes. I don't think there's anything that needs to be done at halftime. But we will probably make all 6 substitutions fairly early in this second half because it's just a glorified friendly, isn't it? We want to get everybody, or as many players as we can, the opportunity to get some minutes under their belt. Zamorano to Schultz, who's come very deep again, and we've released Haruna on this left-hand side, who cuts it back to Tipple. Tipple bursting into the area. Tipple with the shot on his weaker foot as well. Now on a much more expensive contract, Tipple. He's had a £100,000 a week pay rise this summer and has learned to use his right foot as well, apparently. It didn't end up in the back of the net, though, so everybody's sad. Right, substitutions. We're going to take off Navarro, drop Zamorano back, bring Janusek on. Easy substitution number 1. We're also going to take off Pedro Luis. He's had a very quiet game. Garza's going to come on for him. We don't really have anyone to come on for Tipple. We'll make one more for now. I think we'll bring on Romero for Paviot. And then we'll give it another 10 minutes and we'll do the other 3. I'm pretty sure we can make 6 substitutions today. We'll do them as 3 and 3 to try and get game time into as many players as possible. This is going to be a big season for Romero. Obviously, his first season at the club, he was a revelation. He was fantastic. But then last season, got injured as part of that whole pile of defenders who got injured at the start of the season. And Paviot was brought in as a panic signing on loan and ended up really, really good. So Romero never really made it back into the side because Paviot, despite being a last-minute panic signing, ended up being really, really good for us. So Romero's kind of needs to re-establish himself as first-team quality this season. Right, Tipple is struggling. I think what we're going to do is bring on Tammy Abraham and drop Schultz back and drop Casolare back. Actually, we'll drop Garza back, who can actually apparently play there. It's not ideal playing Schultz in midfield, but he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And then we'll bring on Caesar for Ua. And for the final change, Diego Knoll can come on for Fernandez. I don't think we can bring on LOLLUJO. No, only 6 substitutions. So that'll do. That gets everybody a chance at a little bit of a run out. That we're exercising the excellent flexibility we have in the defence again. Mura, just as comfortable playing left back as he is centre back. It's why we signed him. Last summer's plan, all coming together. Tammy Abraham had an opportunity there, but wasn't quite alert to it. I am keeping a close eye on Tammy Abraham today. He did start to decline last season, which is only to be expected with the age that he is. He's out of contract at the end of the season on £145,000 a week. I don't anticipate him earning another deal. I expect he'll probably retire at the end of this season, but I would like to get another season out of him as a Champions League quality striker. We're going to learn a lot early on in this year, whether or not that's something he's likely to be able to do for us. If not, Garza really, really needs to step up and show that he's going to be the man. Otherwise, we've got Pedro Luis and not much else as our attack. And I think that's going to make things very difficult to compete in multiple competitions, especially if the worst happens and Pedro Luis picks up an injury. Casolare's in here, one-on-one with the keeper, but his shot is a tame one. It's pushed behind for a corner. Their goalkeeper just did some kind of time jump, and we've got the corner. Garza to take. It eludes everybody in a yellow shirt and is cleared, and we enter the 90th minute. Still 1-0. We've been comfortably the better team, but we haven't been great in front of goal. But a win is a win. For the second episode in a row, we get to see the picking up a trophy celebration. Not only am I fatter than all of the players, as we noticed in yesterday's episode, I'm taller than most of them as well. I'm just a giant. It's like Andre the Giant wandering around. I'm nearly as tall as this guy, and he stood on the stage. Who is this? We can't see who he is. We can't click on him. And who's this fella who gets to stand there and be part of the celebrations while I'm just stood on the sideline clapping my hands like a seal? It's ridiculous. I want on that stage. Who are we getting the cartwheel from? 28 is Romero. I think this guy here is cartwheel guy. It is Romero who does the cartwheel. That is going to stand him in good stead when it comes to getting himself back in the team this season. And I will continue walking around amongst the little people as I celebrate our second trophy in successive episodes. Am I a club legend yet? I blooming should be. Goodness me. Right. One more week of avoiding selling Pedro Luis to go. and also avoiding him getting any kind of injury because I'm terrified of that happening. And then we're done. And we've made it through the most uneventful summer in the history of me on YouTube, which is no mean feat. Right, there's some things happening here. I wouldn't normally show you this other than the fact that I clicked on a few things and it got weirder and weirder. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after leading Peterborough back to the Premier League, has stepped down as manager of Peterborough to become manager of Russia. Okay, bit odd to leave a Premier League management job to go and manage Russia, but fair enough. The bit that did confuse me is his departure from Teddy Sheringham Park. From where? Peterborough play at somewhere called Teddy Sheringham Park? Why? Teddy Sheringham never played for Peterborough. On further inspection, Teddy Sheringham Park is in Leicester. It was built in 2024. Okay, fair enough. So Leicester got a new ground. Did Teddy Sheringham ever play for Leicester? I don't know that he did. But okay, Leicester got a new ground. Fair enough. No, they didn't. The only team that plays here is Peterborough. I'm going to need somebody to explain to me why a stadium was built in 2024 in Leicester called Teddy Sheringham Park that Leicester don't play at. Because I don't understand any of it. Does it tell us on here when they moved? Because obviously, there we go. It shows that because obviously when I was there, we were still playing at London Road. Which it looks like they've literally just moved to Teddy Sheringham Park. So Teddy Sheringham Park has existed for 9 years and has only just had a team move into it. Unless, did Leicester build it? And then they've already moved out of it? So Leicester play at the King Power Stadium. Did they ever leave it? And for some reason built... No. What the hell is Teddy Sheringham Park? Why does it exist? Is Teddy Sheringham in the game? Teddy Sheringham... No, just Teddy Sheringham Park. I am baffled. I assume Posh are having a new ground built. Yeah, so they're moving in to the 27,000 capacity Noel Cantwell Stadium in 2036, 3 years' time. That makes sense. Noel Cantwell, Peterborough legend. I understand that. I just don't understand why Teddy Sheringham Park exists and why it's in Leicester. Please, somebody in the comments explain it to me. And I'm baffled, genuinely baffled. And there we have it, boys and girls. We have successfully made it through at the least to the start of the new season without selling Caesar or Pedro Luis. Obviously, we've still got a couple of weeks of transfer window left, so there's always the chance it might happen. The money situation is not ideal. Transfer debt's come down a little bit, though, which is nice, isn't it? And we've still got Champions League money to come in. Always rely on the Champions League money. It will be fine. But just the one transfer in all summer. Worryingly, Tottenham are trying to basically get their own back for all of the digs I've had at them over the years. In fact, I thought they had. Their offer was declined. They'd made a £64 million offer for Delgado, my Pedro Luis replacement, but they've obviously been laughed out of town. So he's still available if Pedro Luis does leave, which is good. He's still available, still on the transfer list. Our backup plan is still there. We obviously need to sell him, though, for enough money to be able to get Delgado if it happens. Hopefully it won't happen. I'd rather stick with the guy we know because, let's face it, he's awesome. Media think we're going to finish seventh, sorry. We're going to win it all. Is there any good jobs available here? Look, we've been upgrading the staff this summer. That's nice, isn't it? We've done something. The Peterborough job, obviously, is available because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't like Teddy Sheringham. There you go. Are you kidding me? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on the favourite personnel list and I'm not. I'm the one who started this. I'm the one who got them to the Premier League. Idiots. And he left them to go to Russia. Idiots. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.